What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with Alfred, who is really fired up to return to the bodybuilding stage this year after taking this whole past year off. Now if we talk about pure quality, Alfred is just so damn underrated, especially his quads and the level of detail and the feathers that he's able to achieve. That's probably one of the best in the modern bodybuilding era. And this has been debated many times that there are only a few guys in the modern era of bodybuilding who have fully striated, not to mention fully feathered quads. I think Godvito has crazy quads in terms of the detail, and Alfred too, although his quads aren't the biggest out there. Now Alfred did bring multiple great looks to the stage back in 2023, especially his last show, which was Japan Pro, and that was at the end of 2023. And that, by the way, was also his highest placing in the men's open bodybuilding, where he placed second behind Theolik Warrior. Now that, in my opinion, was a superb look, but he was denied the victory there, purely on the basis of not being big enough. And to those who do not know, this is a guy who also transitioned from the 212 to the men's open, and the man is still in the growing phase, he's still in the process. Now, as stated many times, that the year 2025 is gonna be remembered as the year in which so many of these great men's open bodybuilders, they will make their comebacks. And Alfred is definitely gonna be among those guys. Now, I am very curious to see how much size he has been able to pack on in this long off season. Because if he is considerably bigger, if he has put on a lot of muscle on that frame, his chances of getting to the Olympia stage, they will be much higher on the basis of the quality of his skin. Because the condition and the level of shred that Alfred is able to achieve, that is one of a kind. That is something that rivals the best of the best in the world. So all the credits to RX Muscle for this story. Patrick Moore finally joined forces with his former coach, Chris Aceto, who was his first coach from 2019, and the guy who helped him place top 10 at his Olympia debut back in 2019. Now honestly, I have got to say Patrick should have never left Chris Aceto back then, because in these last 5 years, not a single coach was able to get Patrick as shredded and hard as nails as Chris Aceto did back at his Olympia debut in 2019. And I'm not really implying that this is gonna magically help Patrick place top 5 at this upcoming Arnold. The fact of the matter is that he just doesn't have the size to compete with those big mass monsters in the men's open class. And another fact is that he was even unable to place top 6 at his last show, which was the Legion Sports, and which arguably had a weak lineup. But that being said, I have got to say, with the help of Chris Aceto, he might be able to bring his best condition to date and hope that some of these other guys, they come in off. That being said, Chris Aceto is gonna have 3 guys in this year's Arnold lineup. We have Andrew Jacked, Patrick Moore, and although Derek Lansford hasn't made this announcement just yet, but there have been so many rumors that Derek is also working with Chris Aceto. So how often does this happen? That 2 top coaches in the industry, Stefan and Chris Aceto, coaching 6 out of a total of 12 guys in one lineup. I guess Samson and his coach, who is his wife, Marlena, they are gonna be going up against another big challenge. No surprise there at all that Breon Ansley switch to the 212 division. That was the biggest story of yesterday. And even better to see Breon Pearson, the reigning 212 Olympia champion, welcoming another champion of classic physique to this whole new challenge. For those who do not know, Breon started his career as a 212 athlete, and he did compete at the New York Pro back in 2014 in the 212. Now, I certainly believe that Breon would not have been even close to this successful if classic physique division wasn't introduced back in 2016. Because the thing is, he had quite a great rivalry with Chris Bumstead starting from 2017 to 2019. So how Breon is gonna do in the 212 class? Now, I personally think the man is a bit late in making this switch, and this is strictly based on the age factor, as nobody beats Father Time. Now, Breon and Keon, they have only competed against each other just once, and that was back in 2019 Classic Physique Miss Olympia. And Breon was second at that show in a very close contest against Sebum, and Keon was 4th. Now, it is gonna be a big challenge for Breon, because those guys in the 212, especially if we take a glance at the top 5, they are just so damn muscular, and they're packed with muscles on top of muscles. And all of these guys have huge quad sweep. Now, if there is one thing that Breon is lacking, that is the size on his quads. the maturity and the density of Breon that can compete with any of the 212 guys. And he can go up against them any day. So this is of course gonna be an intriguing offseason for Breon, as he intends to do a show before the Olympia this year. Next up, we have an update from Brett Wilkin, moving forward at full throttle for this upcoming offseason, as he is all ready to make his Olympia debut this year. Now, Brett could have been on the Olympia stage twice by now if he did not face that health scare, and thankfully he was able to recover 100% from that, because those digestion problems, they can mark the end of any men's open pro bodybuilder, simply because of the amount of food they have to intake in order to maintain that kind of muscle and that kind of mass, in order to be that big. I mean, Flex Lewis, the 7 times 212 Olympia champion, retired from competing due to a similar reason. But that being said, Brett was able to make a strong comeback, and he did win his first show back, which was the Legion Sport last year, after more than 1 year. So Brett is also in that long list of guys who are going to be prepping with Stefan for this year's Miss Olympia. And a big issue that Brett will be addressing in this upcoming season is try and not to lose a lot of size while getting down, while getting shredded, especially in that peak week. Because this has been another ongoing issue with Brett over these past few years. Now that being said, Brett is quite complete, except that he isn't the biggest or the widest guy on the stage, especially at the highest level. And those variables matter, and that too a lot, especially on the Olympia and the Arnold stage. So will he be able to make a solid impact like his best friend Martin-Fitzwater and his training partner did at his Olympia debut last year? Well, I'm gonna say not that likely, because Martin exceeded all the expectations, but Brett will surely be looking to land somewhere in the second call-out, maybe as high as top 10. So here we are watching probably the greatest poser in the entire pro league right now, Logan Franklin, displaying his art at about 8 weeks out of this upcoming Arnold, Ohio. So things really did not go his way at the Olympia last year, but with only a total of 11 guys in this year's Arnold lineup, this is a chance for him to convince the judges that he is one of the best athletes in classic physique division. So far this hasn't happened, and Logan has only done 2 Olympias in all of his classic physique career, which by the way started back in 2019. And the only other Olympia that he did, that was back in 2020, where he placed 9th. But his physique has definitely matured over the years, and he has all what it takes to be classic with that vacuum and the classic posing. But there are many pros out there who are able to outcondition him and who are much more aesthetic and much more classic than him, especially at these big shows like the Arnold. Now as far as this update is concerned, one just cannot look any more ready than this at 8 weeks out of the show. And let's see what him and his coach Patrick Tuer brings to the table next time. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.